version and edition of Innov8. We're very pleased to have you all here for a very special session. And before we jump right on in, want to pass it over to our CIO, Lev Gonick, to get us kicked off. Lev, over to you.
Thanks, Timothy, and great to see everybody at the end of the first full 24 hours of the 2021 Digital Trust Summit. It's been a great 24, and the next 24 are also looking great. And tonight is a great way of actually showcasing Innov8, a speaker series that Timothy has championed for over a year now. I think he really actually just needed somebody to introduce the speaker, because it might not have felt good for Timothy to welcome everybody to Innov8 and just have him start and say, I'm the special speaker. So actually, Timothy is the special speaker tonight. The topic is actually obviously around digital trust, and certainly hugely important as we talk about and we invite Timothy to share some of the work that's been going on in a team that he's been leading to develop ASU's digital wallet. And you all will be the very first 62 people in the world to see the working proof point of Pocket, the ASU digital wallet. I just want to spend 1 or 2 minutes talking about why it really matters to ASU. And first and foremost, as a university committed to access, it's hugely important for us to constantly be thinking about and trying to be in service and support of our learners. And we do pretty well at it, but there's so much more work to be done. And one of the fundamental and philosophical commitments that we have here at ASU is really to try to lean into and support learner agency. The idea that learners should, to the extent possible, own and participate in the crafting of, the experience of, the representation of, the demonstration of their learning and their learning experiences. And universities have an 800-year tradition of doing relatively little of that. In general, when one finally, hopefully graduates, or as you're going to hear from Timothy, you actually have a real life experience in which you perhaps start a journey in learning and don't necessarily finish in the first go around. But if you are successful, you end up with a transcript that basically shows your major and your grade point average. I mean, that's it. After 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, or if you come back to school to finish up a degree many, many years later. And of course, there's just so much more richness to that experience. And we believe that learner agency, the idea of putting not only the formal learning outcomes, but the evidence of great experiences that learners have as part of their curricular and their extracurricular, and the passion projects that they have are all part of really what we want to be able to represent in a trusted fashion, using the most recent technologies that afford the use of distributed ledgers to afford learners an opportunity to both own as well as share immutable evidence of their outcomes of learning. Again, whether those are the formal ones and the informal ones, or if they choose to, on their ring, to simply share their informal ones if they choose to, if there's no interest, if they don't have an interest in doing anything more formal than that. In the end, that's up to the student, obviously, and that's what matters to us, or to the learner, as we say. So, I mean, that's why it really matters. I mean, it really matters because going into the next 50 years of learning, we in the world of organized education need to find ways of leveraging the technology to make real what has been a kind of rhetorical interest in learner-centered activity, and actually provide the tools that make it possible. And again, Timothy Summers, who's been involved in this technical space for more than a decade, was a natural when we look to develop our strategy and our roadmap, and ultimately what you're going to hear Timothy talk through today, namely our proof of concept of this work. Timothy was an excellent and natural leader for this work, and he's been guiding this work in partnership and with the support of not only myself as the CIO, but also President Crow, and actually an important group of funders of this work, which is the Stand Together Network, who are likewise committed to learner-centered, learner agency, the idea of putting tools in the hands of learners so that they can, again, design, experience, and then represent their learning throughout their lifetimes. And with that, I'm going to pass the popcorn back to Dr. Timothy Summers.
Thank you so much, Lev. Thank you so much for this this opportunity. You know, this is a day that I've been looking forward to for the last year. Every once in a while, an extraordinary and promising concept comes along that changes everything. And ASU has been, you know, well, first of all, one is very fortunate if you get an opportunity to work on something like this in your career. And the University Technology Office and our Pocket team have been fortunate to work on an amazing effort. ASU has been able to introduce some of these concepts into the world of higher education. We introduced the world's first trusted learner network for verifiable learner owned records and are accelerating development and stackable credentials. Well, today we're really excited, and we're introducing a project where we've reimagined the learner journey. And to do this, we're introducing 3 specific breakthrough capabilities: decentralized identity, a digital wallet for storing credentials, and portfolio. Today, ASU is going to reinvent the learner journey. We're doing that with Pocket. Next slide, please. So before we get into it, let's review the rich agenda that we have for you today. We're going to provide an overview of Pocket. We're going to showcase our developing stack and the proof of concept that we've built. We're going to provide you with a first look inside of Pocket. And lastly, because we want you to help us make Pocket better, we're going to do some breakout groups where you can meet the team behind the Pocket technology stack or the UX design. Feel free to join the session of your choice. Please, next slide. So let's jump right in. Next slide, please. ASU is the new American university. We're very proud of that heritage. Please, next slide. We're proud of our roots in innovation and research as well. Please, next slide. It seems appropriate that we really sort of begin with the ASU Charter, as it specifically calls out our dedication to measuring success based on whom we include rather than whom we exclude. And let's jump to the next one, because the University Technology Office is a hotbed of third horizon innovations, thanks to the leadership of our CIO, Lev Gonick, and our president, Dr. Michael Crow. A sincere thank you to them both. Please, next slide, Andy. So unlike any other crisis in modern history, the pandemic has fundamentally changed the way we think and work. In the recent Department of Education COVID-19 handbook, the Department of Ed calls for investment into digital learning records to promote student mobility, and that the key to any solution is to build an ecosystem that promotes student ownership over their digital data and learning records, and control over how and with whom they are shared. Next slide. Additionally, the 2020 EDUCAUSE Horizon Report articulated that courses, curricula, and degree programs must meet learners' needs, as well as the demands of new industries and evolving workforce, and that there will be an increased demand for lifelong learning and skills renewal. Please, next slide. Core to what ASU's president calls the fifth realm, Pocket supports infinitely scalable learning. Next slide. I am excited to introduce you to Pocket, a digital wallet and portfolio that learners can use to navigate their lifelong learner journey. Next slide. So the transcript is still the benchmark of learning, and the resume is still the benchmark for work, but both mechanisms fall short in representing an individual and their capabilities. We recognize that this is a deeply human challenge and propose Pocket as a technological tool that helps learners navigate their journey, specifically enabling them to capture the evidence of their learner journey and match their skills with jobs of the future. Next. Pocket enables learners to capture the holistic evidence of their learning in any format and gives them the agency to securely store and share it with employers and other institutions of learning. Next slide. With Pocket in hand, learners can collect evidence of their learning, including achievements in training, education, and work. They can curate their unique portfolio representation of their learning evidence. And lastly, they can connect their portfolio of knowledge, skills, and credentials to the future of work and education. Next slide. Pocket is a powerful tool that learners can take with them along their learner journey. Just put your credentials in your pocket and take them with you. Next slide. Using the latest advancements in decentralized identity and distributed ledger technologies, Pocket provides learners with increased ownership of their learning artifacts, control over how their digital credentials are stored and shared, with whom or selective disclosure, an easy way to navigate between institutions and employers, and to continually add new skills, knowledge, and experiences gained during work and education. Next slide. We've created a short video here that provides a vision of Pocket in action, following our learner, Hannah. Let's take a look at that.
At Pocket, we believe in the lifelong learner journey. That's why we're creating a digital wallet and portfolio that captures the experiences, skills, knowledge, and work gathered across our lifetimes. Take, for example, Hannah, a recent college graduate ready to embark on her career path. But knowing and owning the achievements that got her there is key to driving where she'll go next. For Hannah, getting into Arizona State University was a major milestone along her journey. Throughout her 4 years at ASU, Hannah completes over 60 classes across a variety of subjects, including transferring in credits from her local community college. She is awarded for skills in teamwork, public speaking, and visual design, and even lands an internship at a local nonprofit to support their marketing efforts. Along the way, Hannah is building a portfolio to showcase her breadth of knowledge, experiences, and skills using Pocket. Pocket is a digital wallet and portfolio that empowers users to capture the learner journey and match their skills with jobs of the future. With Pocket in hand, learners like Hannah can collect evidence of their learning, curate their unique portfolios, and connect their knowledge, skills, and credential to future opportunities in work and education. With her portable and secure learner record in hand, Hannah is ready to take charge of her future and continue adding and building her digital portfolio along the way. At Pocket,
we've taken an ecosystem approach to Pocket. With learners as the focus, we envision an ecosystem with learners at the core and feeders such as institutions and employers for this ecosystem. This is just our first iteration of this, and we really do foresee and envision this ecosystem growing over time. Next slide, please. Now, let's dive into Pocket's technology stack and the proof of concept that got us here. Next. For two major components, the Pocket platform, which in the future will include back office enhancements and integrations. However, at current includes key components such as our identity, issuance, and proof servers. If you're interested in a deep dive, please be sure to join the Tech Stack breakout with David Holtz and John Kuo. And then there's the Pocket app itself, which learners will use to store validated identity artifacts and verifiable credentials. Next. In order to scale digital trust to the demands of higher education and beyond, it's crucial to design solutions that people want to use and to build them on common standards for privacy, security, and transparency. When beginning to establish trust with other people, organizations, or institutions, often an important first step is to verify your identity to some degree. Self-sovereign identity delivers on this promise. SSI, often referred to as decentralized identity, is a technology-driven effort to evolve identity on the internet using open web standards across organizations like the Hyperledger Project at the Linux Foundation, W3C, IETF, and the Decentralized Identity Foundation, just to name a few. Pocket is an SSI solution, and our intent is that in the future, it will enable learners, institutions, and employers to use self-sovereign identity and manage the verifiable credentials lifecycle. We've built our Pocket proof of concept atop Hyperledger Indy, a set of tools, libraries, and reusable components for providing digital identities rooted on blockchains or other ledgers so that they are interoperable across administrative domains, applications, and any other silo. We've been designing Pocket with a few core principles in mind: open source, extensible data formats, secure authentication protocols, a robust semantic data model, industry standard cryptography, and the use of connectors and extensions to allow modular and configurable use of Pocket over time. Next, please. I'm proud to share with you a few of the key technical milestones that we've achieved: secure onboarding and self-sovereign identity creation, pocket-to-pocket verification, and credential issuance and verification. Next, please. We built a secure onboarding flow using industry best practices, and once completed, the user receives their first verifiable credential, which acts as the foundation to receive future credentials as well. Next. Up next, right, we're using cryptographic proof requests to verify credentials within Pocket. For example, a learner can use their identity credential to prove that they are an ASU student. To do so, a Pocket verifier can create a proof request in the form of a QR code for the learner to scan using the Pocket app. Next. And lastly, we've architected Pocket to ensure that it can fit well into organizations across their departments, colleges, and other specialized operation groups. Next, please. Now, let's take a look inside of Pocket. It's really clean. We've designed something wonderful for your lifelong learner journey, just wonderful. We're going to provide a walkthrough of the Pocket app and functionality, including creating your Pocket, navigating the learner journey, and exploring Pocket's credential mobility feature set. So that you can see it clearly, I'm going to cast the screen from my device. So I'm logged in on my phone, and I am going to share my screen here. And we're going to navigate to Pocket. And this is a fresh install. I've not used it, so we're going to be starting very, very fresh. So let's go ahead and open the app. We arrive at the Pocket splash screen. We've developed a hypothetical learner named Hannah. Let's start by creating Hannah's Pocket. We provide a few obligatory screens here that you can see, informing the user that they'll need to provide some identity verification information and other aspects of the onboarding process. So, okay, let's get started. First, let's enter Hannah's first and last name. We're also going to enter Hannah's email address. And now we're going to create a wallet. Now, the application is going to ask us to write down our seed phrase because this is what we use, she'll use for recovery. So we're going to write these down. Okay, now we've got our seed phrase written, and Pocket is going to want to confirm that we've written it down. So it's going to ask us to confirm those. So our second elbow, our 10th is wrist, and our 12th is true. And now we've confirmed. So next, we see here, we'll choose a PIN code, which can also be used for recovery as well. I'm just going to pick something very generic here for Hannah. Now we begin the verification process. We're going to start verification. Now, Hannah's taken classes in the past at Valley of the Sun Community College and is now taking courses at ASU. So she has a connection to both institutions. Here, we're going to select both of these institutions. In the future, we envision that users will search for their institution in the search bar and select the ones that they already have an identity, such as an ASU Right or some other institutional identifier. Now we see the selective disclosure screen. And in the demo today, we're not saving these settings. However, in the future, we envision the user being able to simply toggle their consent and disclosures. Next, we upload an identity document, such as a passport. And so we're just going to upload a very simple, rudimentary photo. Passport, next. And now we're going to upload a selfie. There we go. Now we wait for the verification process to be completed. But this will take a few minutes as the system creates Hannah's pocket and verifies her identity. Now in the demo, we aren't actually verifying the credential in real time, but we anticipate doing this in the future. Once the process is completed, we'll be prompted with a button to return to the home screen. While we wait for this to happen, I'd like to take a moment to talk about design. Our UX team has been relentless about conducting research, extensive user experience research, gathering feedback from learners, and I'm proud to share that our application at current has a system usability scale score of 92.5. This is a measure, an internationally recognized measure for representing how much users will like your application, as well as recommend it to others. Interestingly enough, most applications come in the 80s. Pocket's clocking in at around 92.5, and it really is a commitment to quality. And as a further point of that commitment, we're using the score as our baseline and plan to only go up from there. If you're interested in learning more about Pocket's UX and interface, please join Pilar and Annie in the UX breakout session that we'll have here pretty soon. And also, as we get Hannah started here, once we're logged into Hannah's wallet, we'll actually be able to see her home screen. I'm going to take you through some really interesting workflows. We get an opportunity to really see just how much Hannah can drill into her courses at the institutions, as well as just the number and matter of different options that she has. Okay, so now let's go to our home screen. So on the home screen, Hannah can see the institutions with which she has a relationship. So I've got Valley of the Sun Community College here, where Hannah previously attended. Let's take a look at what we can see. When we tap the institution, we can see the courses that she's taken. She can drill down to the course information. Let's take a look at Management Information Systems. We can see the term, her grade, and the credits for the course. She can also see the instructor and a description for the course, along with any related coursework. Now, let's go back because Hannah can also see other information about her records of Valley of the Sun, specifically credits that she's completed as well along her journey while she was at Valley of the Sun. We can also take a look at her grades, and she can take a look and see what her grades were while she was there. And we can also take a look at degrees that have been issued by the institution. And we can see here that Hannah does not have any degrees that have been issued to her by Valley of the Sun. But let's go back here and take a look. Now, Hannah wants to transfer her credits from Valley of the Sun Community College to ASU. So let's tap Tools. Then Transfer Credentials. And we're going to select Valley of the Sun as the origin of transfer. And then we're going to select ASU as the destination. Now let's just send her entire transcript from Valley of the Sun. Next, she'll do her selective disclosure, which again, for the demo, we are not saving this, but in the future, we would be saving this. And at this point now, Hannah has done her selective disclosure. Again, in the future, these settings will be saved, but now she submits those credits for transfer review and approval. And we've just gotten a notification that based on the credits that Hannah has transferred into ASU, she may be eligible to complete her associate's degree from Valley of the Sun when paired with the courses that she's taken at ASU. So let's go okay, and we get back to our home screen, and let's just take a look at our notifications. We can see here, Hannah did her initial transfer. They were reviewed. Then we see here the transfer was approved. And then we see here that she's notified that she qualifies potentially for this graduate degree, or this associate's degree rather. And in order to collect that degree, she'll need to transfer the courses that she's taken at ASU back to Valley of the Sun. So let's do that. So now we go back to Hannah's home screen, And we're going to go back to tools. Well, you know what? Let's just go back for a second because we want to see what classes Hannah's taken at ASU. And we can see here that she's taken a number of courses. We can see her credits. And we can also see that she doesn't have any degrees there as well. Now let's go ahead and transfer her ASU credits back to Valley of the Sun. That way Hannah can get this associate's degree that she might be eligible for. So we go to tools, we transfer credentials, and this time our origin is going to be ASU and our destination, Valley of the Sun. Now, we're going to go ahead and just transfer her entire transcript back to Valley of the Sun. Again, the selective disclosure. And again, we're not saving them for this demo. We will in the future. Now we're going to submit those credits for review. We submit the credits, and we're going to receive another notification letting Hannah know whether or not those credits were approved. And oh, wait, there we see her. She's got a new degree that's been issued to her pocket. So let's take a look at the notifications here. If we go to Hannah's notifications, we can see she transferred her credits from ASU back to Valley of the Sun. The transfer was approved. And now it says that a degree has been issued to her in her pocket. So let's go back to Valley of the Sun, to our home screen, because Valley of the Sun is where we're supposed to be getting this new degree. And so now we're going to go to our degree screen. And we're going to see if we've been, and there it is. Hannah's been issued an associate's degree in business. And if she clicks on that, she can actually see a potential digital representation of the degree. And so with Pocket in hand, Hannah can capture evidence of her learning, put it in her pocket, and take it with her. Pretty cool, huh? Well, we've only just started. So again, decentralized identity, a digital wallet, and portfolio. It's incredible. Now I'd like to share with you how we're envisioning the representation of digital portfolio artifacts within Pocket. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so that Annie can share hers, and we can get back to our slides. Thanks, Annie. So we're designing Pocket's portfolio to be able to represent a learner's full breadth of work in an enriched credential view to demonstrate evidence of a skill, course, or experience. Next slide. Learners will be able to access their coursework, assignments, papers, presentations, and more from across courses. With their holistic evidence of learning, learners can truly curate the representation of their work. Next slide. And I'm really excited to share this with you. Here is just a early glance at our extended portfolio profile, which learners will keep in their pocket. Next slide. Now we're going to break you out into groups. Again, if you want to learn more about Pocket Stack, please join John and David. If you're interested in learning more about the UX design of Pocket, please join Annie and Pilar. Over to you guys in terms of breaking out the rooms. And while we're doing this, let's see here.
So if you just go to the bottom of your screen at Breakout, you'll be able to self-select.
Thanks, Annie. Excellent. I hope that you've had an opportunity to learn a bit more about Pocket and the breakouts. I know that we wish we had more time, and that's okay. You can feel free to visit pocket.asu.edu. We do have a form there where you can reach out and stay in touch. Let's project our slides again, Annie. Before we share what's next, I'd just like to pause for a moment and just take a moment to share everyone that has been making Pocket possible. Thank you, team. We just wanted to take a moment to just show a little love and recognize everyone for just all of the really amazing work that they've been doing as a part of this initiative. Thanks, everyone. Next slide. We want you to stay in touch. We want you to visit pocket.asu.edu to learn more and join our growing community for updates, future demos as well. But now we're working on a proof of concept. Now that we have a proof of concept, a working proof of concept rather, we'd like to begin investing and inviting others through specific strategic pilots to make possible working models with high schools, nonprofit institutions, private learning institutions, public learning institutions, and more. We hope that there's a broader market for Pocket than just ASU. And we're actively working on being able to tell the story of Hannah with Pocket in hand from Girl Scouts all the way through to college and high school and university, community college, university, onto a job, and then perhaps back for graduate school. And we're really excited about identifying partners that are interested in coming to play in the sandbox with us to establish the next steps and next phases of Pocket. Next slide, please. Again, we want to stay in touch with you. You can visit pocket.asu.edu to learn more and join our growing community for updates, future demos, and more. Next slide. I just wanted to share, I didn't sleep a wink last night. I was so excited about today because frankly, we've been so lucky on the Pocket team. There's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I sincerely enjoy. And he says, I skate to where the puck's gonna be, not where it has been. And with Pocket, we've always tried to do that from the very, very beginning, and we always will. So thank you very much for being part of this. From me and all of us at the Pocket team and at the University Technology Office, thank you for letting us share with you and for joining us for this momentous occasion. Thank you, everyone.